Anxious temper tantrums, of course, unconscious. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to address a very important issue, which is very, very common with people who have anxious attachment style, and that they have these kind of temper tantrums, um, angry outbursts, because they just would like to have more attention, basically. And this means they are not needy or clingy, as they label them so many times. They are just not getting the attention they actually deserve, because they probably most likely have a partner who doesn't pay attention to them enough. But let's see, what are these unconscious temper tantrums. And before I get into that, I just would like to explain why actually anxious people do these things. Um, so as I already explained in my previous videos, the anxious attachment style developed in childhood when we were very little, and basically the attachment system is kind of like a survival instinct. It is it's kind of a reflex. We do it for survival, because if we didn't get attention from our parents, we died, basically. And this kind of conditioning stayed with us, because if you imagine, you get this conditioning from birth, so you had several years to get conditioned, and that means it's deeply ingrained in your brain. That's why, in my opinion, attachment styles are very stable, and especially the dysfunctional ones. So, dysfunctional meaning, we have difficulties in relationships if we meet people who um, are most likely avoidance or other uh, personality disorders, because we just constantly triggered by their behavior, as we are triggering their behavior, obviously. But this channel is supporting anxious people. So these seemingly temper tantrums are, yes, like they look like a child is acting out and behaving badly. And sometimes a person who has this attachment style, I remember when it first happened to me, I was thinking like I went mad. Like I entered into a relationship and my behavior completely changed. Like I felt like I was in a trance. And this is quite difficult to understand, because now I am conscious, but it still happened. It still happened. Even though I'm aware of this knowledge, it still happened. Um, so that's how I realized that these are very, very deep, because I'm a very conscious person. I'm very aware of my feelings, my behaviors. And even then, when I entered into a relationship, the pulling towards these acting out behaviors, these temper tantrums, they were so strong that sometimes I could stop them, but sometimes I was just completely lost. So and then I watched myself, and I realized that I'm behaving like I don't want to behave, but I really felt like if I'm not doing this, I'm going to die. That's when I absolutely realized that I don't care what some books say that you can change it this way and that way. I mean, you can get better, but it's very hard to change. I mean, you need constantly secure people to be around you to slowly calm down and change probably over years. So I just want to reassure people and empower people with this attachment style that if this happens, there is a reason, and it's very hard to stop them because people can really beat themselves up because we are very emotional. We are very um, much think that this is our fault, but this is not our fault. This is a very strong force. If you think about your survival instinct, when you are underwater, you can get up, you can get out to have air. You do anything in your power to to get to the level, the where you can get fresh air. So basically you just frantically, yes, you frantically behave like a mad person, and that is exactly what happens in this situation. So yes, when you are not when your attachment system is not activated and you're calm, then you can realize what happened. But sometimes it can only happen after it's already all over. You broke up with that person and few months later. So this force is very powerful. We have to understand this. And that's why I am very much against any kind of shaming, blaming, self-shaming, self-blaming. No, no way. This is like a dragon, like a force to be, a force to deal with. So yeah, we need a lot of self-awareness, but we have to understand that there's very little we can do at the beginning. Okay, so I would like to get into this and mention the most frequent behavior patterns anxious people have. So the first one is that they are desperately want to talk or meet with their partner. So the question to ask is what we do, like how does it manifest? So yes, you start texting, you text one, you don't get an answer, then you're already anxious. So, and that's how it starts. It's just one little action, and you already have this uneasiness. Even if you know the attachment style, you already have this anxiety bubbling inside of you, somewhere around your stomach. And then the thoughts are starting to come, like, what's going on? Why he doesn't answer? Doesn't like me? Doesn't care about me? Blah blah blah. Then you probably send another text, but 1 or 2 hours later, no answer. Then your attachment system is starting to really, gain momentum, and then you can start the negative talking in your head, like, oh my god, he's doing something I don't want to even know. He doesn't love me anymore. He's gonna break up. He just, why he does it? Why he doesn't want to speak to me? I need to speak to him. I have to get in touch with him. And that's exactly what's happening inside of you. And inside, what you feel in your body is kind of like this picture is kind of like a storm. It's very painful. It's very uncomfortable. It's the frustration. It's the frustration that you want something and you can't get it. You want it, you can't have it, and you need it because you're going to die. So it's kind of a life or death situation. And they don't get it, and they're never going to get it. People who even if you explain and they don't care because they never experienced this, they just can't imagine. But this is what happens. So we do it as I explained because we feel like otherwise we're gonna die. We need to be in touch. We need to feel that we are loved, we are important, we have attention on them, because Otherwise, it's kind of a nihil. It's kind of, you are non-existent if you don't get the attention. So that's how it feels. And that's why it is very painful when others don't get it. But unfortunately, many people don't. So how to deal with it is, obviously, in my opinion, is definitely get away from people who are hurting you and not answering your texts. I mean, I had a guy who answered a text, one of my texts, 1 week later, and I didn't know about the attachment styles those days, and I was constantly checking my phone, and I was anxious. I didn't send another one. I was waiting, but I was kind of dying inside. I couldn't imagine what happened. And then obviously my mind was keep telling me, yes, you're not important, he doesn't care. But I was still waiting for the text. And when I received the text, all these negativity just vanished, like absolutely disappeared. And then I just remembered how much I liked him, how much I wanted to be with him, how much I was, how happy I was that I received this message. And that's it. Everything, like, life went on. But until there, up until that point I received that message, life was on hold. And this is in a way crazy, but this is what happens. Like if, like, they give permission for me to leave. So once you realize this is what's happening, in my opinion, if someone doesn't answer you and you explained what's going on, you have this situation, and they still don't change, then do you have only one option, is to leave, or because obviously they don't respect you. That's what's going on, and they don't care. Because if someone cares and respects you and, like, accepts you the way you are, then they will change, they will understand. But if you are, able to meet a secure person, then it's not going to be a big issue, because he is going to answer you, not within a week, they will answer you within a day. So and with these people you can actually make an agreement, just, at least by the end of the day you need an answer, that's it. But if he can, then as soon as possible, always. That's it. It's not a big deal, they will get used to it. But sometimes they are already like this, so they not take their time, they don't play games. So obviously, so that's how you deal with it. If you are in a relationship with an avoidant, and you don't want to change, then unfortunately you're going to suffer. You have to live with it, because they might alter the behavior a little bit, but most of the time their knee-jerk reaction or knee-jerk behavior is going to be, they take their time, and they will not understand you're upset. That will make them feel uneasy. It's just like, oh my god, this woman is like too much, and they look down on strong emotions. You have to understand this. This is very important to understand this. They look down even in themselves. That's why they have this coldness around them, and they don't have these huge emotions, because they were conditioned to not to have this. So they see it as a weakness. Do you want to be seen as a weak person always? In their mind, that's how they see you. When you have this emotional outburst, they see you as, oh my god, she lost it, he lost it. It's like they feel disgusted. They feel like it's just the worst thing ever. Like, and because they look for a perfect partner, so that means they are searching for the non-existent, because nobody is perfect, but they think there is a perfect somebody for them. They will see straight away that you are not perfect, and that's it. You're already somebody to throw away. So sooner or later, that's what they will do. And that's how we can understand that this is never gonna work out. So maybe 1 person in a million that conscious that they actually, but I only saw therapists do it, like very, very conscious, highly super conscious people do change and understand their attachment system, and over years to change. So I didn't see any single avoidant person to change. So what you can do is, obviously, yes, you can calm it down, you can breathe, you can count, you can distract yourself, you can do many things, but most basically the main issue is that someone is triggering this. Because if someone is replying to you and doesn't play games, then your attachment system remains calm. If someone is always available for you, or most of the time, then you don't get these desperate like behaviors, when you actually feel like after it happened, you feel like it wasn't even you. That's how it feels. Okay, so the next very common behavior is belligerent attitude, like being very hostile or angry. Of course, underneath is the fear of abandonment straight away. Now that's it. So abandonment is a huge issue for anxious. It's an issue for avoidance. That's their problem as well. But they handle it differently. So they handle it by minimizing emotions, by pushing you away, because then that way they, they can prevent. They think they can prevent abandonment or rejecting you, and so that means you are not abandoning them; they abandon you. So that's why it happens. It's a straightforward abandonment anxiety. And as I always say, when you were little, you died if they abandoned you. So it's very kind of, it's a surviving instinct. So how it happens? Again, it happens because they are repeatedly ignoring you. So at first you are a bit nervous, anxious, you feel the uneasiness in your stomach or in your heart, but you keep your cool because you learned it over the years, and also you are an adult now, so you're not, you know, laying down on the floor and screaming and crying like a child. You kind of control yourself more or less, but you feel inside, then you feel inside this way, yeah, I want it now. I need attention now, and I need love, and you need closeness and whatever is your need, but you don't get it. So you don't get it one one after the other, and it happens several times, and you just lose it. So you don't lose it straight away unless there was already a build up over, um, well, it can be days or it can be within a day if something is very important and you need your partner to be there for you and he or she is not there, then you can lose it very soon. So that's how the attachment system works. It is a build up, but you can get from 0 to 100 within 5 minutes if something is so important, or something is kind of like a trauma memory, like something like this already happened before, and then that memory, that this situation when someone is not showing up, letting you down, and something similar already happened, and it was very, very painful or hurtful, or ended up in a breakup, then it's even more difficult to handle for you. So that's how it, yeah, what happens is basically you start to be hostile. You start to be angry, very, very angry. Like you feel like you can actually physically hurt them. Obviously, you don't want to, and you will not do it. Most people not do it, but inside you are boiling, like you just like fire, and you just want to, like you feel like don't you understand that this is life or death situation? And this was just probably for them, for this person who doesn't understand, for them it was like every other normal day. It was a phone call, it was something you asked for from them and they didn't do, and then they suddenly out of the blue they get this like wow, like this huge amount of anger, and then they just, yeah, obviously if you receive this you would be also shocked and a bit um uneasy, and you would feel like what the hell happened. But and then it comes the how they react to you. So someone is coming from an avoidant attachment style, they would feel like you can see them on their face, they will frown, they will feel like ugh, like what is she doing? I don't want to be near her. They sometimes even just leave, they can't even handle it. But a secure person would like be surprised, but because he loves you or she loves you so very much and deeply and cares about you, the first thing they would think is, why do you feel like this way? Like, what happened? Tell me. What happened to you? They will not think that they are bad people. They understand if something they did upset you, but they will not take it personally. They will just see as a situation, and they will also not see you as a horrible, weak, needy, clingy person. They will just say, this person is in distress. I want to care about. I care about her. I want her to be well. I don't want to see her in this state because it's not healthy. And so they will think of you actually first and not about themselves. And avoidance, they just care about themselves. Unfortunately, I have to say, but they have a selfish attitude towards life. So they will think like, oh my God, you're insulting me, you're pushing me, like you're pushy. That's what they always say, like you're too much. And that's what we have to understand, that this behavior is really damaging. So I I don't support to be with a person like that, because you can see the difference. But because if you have never experienced this, then it's very hard to imagine that there are people who are concerned about your well-being. They care about you. You know, they treat you nicely, kindly. They have a heart. They are empathetic, because mostly you are the one with the empathy, and they are the ones with the coldness, with the, yeah, the avoidance actually have difficulty with empathy. So that's a serious issue. So how you can handle it is, yeah, in the best case scenario, you have a secure partner who would give you a nice hug and just apologize and say, I'm sorry honey, I'm going to change it next time, it's not going to happen, or I'm really really sorry, and you are important to me, I love you, I understand why you got upset now, and just yeah, let's have a cup of tea and just talk about it, or just just give you a big nice hug, and straight away, you will feel like, oh yeah, so you will relax and you will feel like, yes, I'm loved, I'm cared for, I got the attention, like, and he even understands, so I got upset, so now I can relax and let it go. It's all fine, we love each other, it's okay, I'm not gonna die, I survived this, I'm all right. Yeah, so the more you imagine this, the more likely that it's going to happen in your life. But to self-soothe is also a possibility. So you can do exactly the same thing, that you can actually feel, but you need a lot of self-awareness. So even if you got this angry outbursts and you're really, really upset, then at some point, because you practice this, at some point you realize, oh my God, I'm lost. I'm in this. I'm angry. I have this behavior going on. And because you're aware, so you're not lost completely, then you can take some actions, and you can remind yourself, like, okay, this is just a situation, just you start breathing, slow down. Breathing is the first and best thing to start with. Just get deep breaths and start talking to yourself, like, it's okay, I'm not going to die, unless it's a life or death situation. But even then, it's best to talk to yourself like I'm going to survive. Just say, okay, I reacted to this, I had this, something triggered me, and my survival instinct just went ballistic, and I was angry with the person I love, and your heart is, slowing down, because you take care of the breathing, and then you talk to yourself, you make yourself feel relaxed. Okay, I start to be the watcher. I'm start to observe myself. Okay, so yeah, I'm upset with this. I'm still upset with him, with her, and I'm watching being upset. And if you have this kind of witness position, and that's when the spirituality comes in, the witness consciousness, then you can soothe yourself faster, because then you realize, oh my God, I'm doing it again. And even if you are all right, you're right. So he didn't, meet your needs. He didn't answer your texts. He didn't call you back when he promised he will. You can first, like, think like, okay, I'm behaving this way, and so it's just happening, but I'm slowing my breathing down and I'm calming down. And the second thing is think the best case scenario. Try to think the best case scenario. He didn't call because he had an urgent meeting and he was unable. He was in a rush. He didn't call because he met somebody and he lost in the conversation and he forgot. Not because he doesn't he loves me so much, but he didn't, like, they didn't meet for years, and then suddenly they met and they went for a drink and whatever. Think of the best case scenario. So that is a very good way to deal with it. Okay, let's move on to the next amazing behavior we can do. We can flirt with others to make our partners jealous. And this is a bit sneaky way to behave, but this is also unconscious. Like I remember I did it many times, and I was like, that's what I'm saying. You feel like you are in a trance. You're not really aware what you're doing. So I remember, like, this guy I was dating, and he just I remember he was on the dating sites, on other sites. And I told him to stop, and then we were arguing about this. And then the next time we met, I had my high heels, I had my very sexy dress, and he looked at me like, I saw that he didn't like it. He didn't want me to have all the attention from other men. And the silly thing is that we really think, like, people with anxious attachments, I really think that this is going to change something. So that's the crazy. That's why it's like not. It's because it's so many people are like this. I have to say this probably in the collective unconscious, that where this behavior is coming from. Because if we, for example, 20% of the population is anxious, then it's, and we behave similarly. There's no way that it's just we can just come up with this kind of unconscious behavior. It's definitely something we pull from the collective. And this is, yeah, if you objectively see this, this is really silly. It's really silly that by flirting with others you can get them be close. It actually can work for a little while, but eventually nothing is going to change. Avoidance and avoidance. And for a secure, you don't have to do this. And why would you? This is manipulation. This is playing games. That's why I put that little. It's kind of a sneaky way to get what you need. But why do you do it? Again, because you don't get your needs met. You don't get the attention. And when do you need attention? Always. Because you choose a partner for a reason. You want to be together. You want to be a couple. You want to depend on each other. Avoidance, they do. They hate dependency. They don't want you to depend on them. They want you to be independent and deal with your own business. You know, they don't want to get involved. With a secure person, it's a complete different story. They also want what you want. Same business. They're just not afraid getting it. They know they will. You don't. You're scared that you not, and that's the only difference. Otherwise, you behave similarly. So that's why in relationships, what they work better when there are similarities. That's why we have to look for similarities. And we are more similar with secure people than with avoidance. Obviously, we are on the other end of the spectrum. That's why we attract each other, but we are not complementary at all. I'm still amazed how many people still think that a relationship with an avoidant will work. It's not going to work. It's one in a million. So if you want to wait for that to happen, good luck. In my view, it's it's a losing game. That's actually a good example. So Amy Winehouse wrote this song that love is a losing game because she was exactly this same textbook story. And my heart goes out to these people. Whitney Houston, same story. So you have an anxious, a preoccupied attachment style, and you have an avoidant. And see what happened. They both died, and Amy died at age 27. I mean, that's actually the reason I started this channel, because I just feel that even if one person will listen to this and it saves their lives, I'm already all right. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to save lives. Because many times I was near suicidal because of this. I know how it feels. It actually feels like you are going to die. And that's why I know these people are very, very attractive, avoidance for an anxious. But if you have the knowledge, have this thing in your mind that they are not able to meet your needs because you are so different, then please, for God's sake, don't get involved with them. And if you are, get away. Believe me, after a while, you will meet someone who is matching you, who is a true match. And I'm not saying perfect, because we know that we are not perfect. And anxious people, they are accepting. They accept the other as they are. They are not criticizing them all the time as avoidance do. You can accept you because you love someone, you accept them. Yes, you will have issues, but not on that level, because you will always with a secure you will always have the respect and the mutual love, and you want closeness, you want to be together. And yeah, so love is not a losing game unless you don't do it the right and the right with the right person. So um yeah, how you do it, yeah, of course, as I said earlier, you can dress, you can actually really flirt with others, or go um on a date with someone else, or I did that as well. Although that was also an interesting story. I wanted to meet somebody because of I was so angry that my partner, an avoidant, didn't pay attention to me, and it didn't work out because the guy just didn't show up. So I was like, oh my god, that was a funny situation. But yes, you act like a crazy person. And before you were in this relationship, you were absolutely normal. You had normal relationships with human beings, and then you get into a relationship with an avoidant, and oh my god, it's like, and that's why they try to, shame you, but don't listen to them, because this is the only your attachment system activated, and that's why it's happening, and that's it. And the best way to deal with it, obviously, is find a person who pays attention to you all the time, and makes you like top priority. You are number one. You are the most important person. If a partner doesn't give you that, it's never gonna work, because we need our partner to be the most important. That's Everyone needs that. Even a man needs that, not just women. Uh, Except from avoidance, although they also like the attention, but just be a bit far away and just don't be emotional. How to deal with this? Well, that's why I put this little snake there. So it's just really silly. So when you catch yourself doing it, just really think about it. Like, does it worth it? Just like, I would just makes me, I will look like a fool even in my eyes. So just don't do it. But if you did, just don't feel bad about it. Find a a really loving, kind person with empathy and a warm heart, and then you will don't have to do this, only if you're an actress or an actor. Okay, so the next one is, you fabricate a busy weekend while you are actually doing nothing, or you make up some program that this is, you're very busy, I'm doing this and meeting these people, I have to work, blah blah blah, and this is not true. Because avoidance, they are really busy because they are running into their work, so they don't have to be with you. Which is like a joke. So it's like horrible. They really really need so much space, so they rather work than being with you. But you do it to have a reaction from them. You do this because they are always busy and with going away with their friends and having their secrets and mysterious little journeys. Then you also create one. And it happened to me. I remember I said it once to a guy that I'm going to my drumming group. And it's true that I used to go to a drumming group, drum circle, but at that time it was not true. And I just made it up. And it didn't end up well, actually, because I actually told him that I lied, and then he got so upset that he was thinking to see me, or he wanted to see me. He became a bit jealous, but when I said what I did, then he was like, no. He was so, like, his ego got hurt, and he didn't want to see me. So I ended up even worse, because um he might have met me that night, but then obviously what happened, he changed his mind. So this is another real thing, and if you see it objectively from the outside, it's again, it's very very childish. Yeah, it's very childish. But it comes from, that's why I'm saying it's a temper tantrum, because it is childish, because we bring it from our childhood. So in psychology, there's a term, the inner child, and basically our inner child does this. So not our adult self is this little child inside who is not getting their needs met. Because think about it, this is a baby. He or she is hungry. He needs, he has a problem. He doesn't feel well. Can you see that baby is just so vulnerable? It's just there, and the only thing you can do is cry. That's your only weapon. That's your only tool, is to make a noise, to cry. And that's exactly what's happening. So you feel abandoned, or you are afraid because because you are conditioned to behave or feel this way. So you don't get the attention, you don't get the love, you don't get your needs met. And the only thing you can do is cry. And when you are an adult, you have more tools. That's it. You are more developed, you're more evolved. You evolved into acting, making them jealous. So it's yeah, it's probably not the best way to develop, um but once we realize, then we can just drop it, honestly. Because the best thing is to get really busy with someone else. So not make up and fabricate a story, but because we are preoccupied, we can anxious people get preoccupied, so they can really sometimes be only in their head or in their heart. So they feel lonely, they feel let down, they feel hurt, and their head is always constantly thinking about what happened, how maybe I should have said that, should have done that, or yes, I'm creating this story and then I'm going to show him that I'm important. Like this should make him behave differently. He doesn't see you as important. You're just somebody. You're not important for a person who doesn't give you the attention. So, but the best way to deal with this is really find, do things you love. And what you need to practice is being present. And this is a skill anyone can learn. I have learned this because I was like, I remember I went hiking, but I wasn't hiking. I wasn't there. I was in my head, keep thinking about my boyfriend who didn't want to come hiking with me. And that's all I was thinking. So I was not there for the whole day. But once I became more conscious and started meditating and read about being present, being in the now, that was like a huge discovery. And I had to learn it. It took time. It doesn't work like from one day to another. So I know some people say that it happened to them. It can probably happen, but in my life, I had to learn. So I had to practice how to be present. And it's a nice thing. It's a very exciting discovery. So you go hiking or you go in the park and you actually are present. You are focusing. So it's all about focus. You're focusing on how you walk, what you feel on your skin, what you hear, or your senses. You pay attention to your senses, what you hear. You listen to the voices around you. You check how you feel inside, and you check what you're thinking, and keep focus back to the present moment. So this is a practice, it's a beautiful practice. So if you never heard of this is an amazing thing to direct yourself from being preoccupied. Is focusing on the present moment. And it's hard at first, but you can practice and can be better. And if you find out you don't have hobbies, or you don't have too many friends, then yeah, just find out what you like. Just try out new things and join groups. There are meetups, there are different groups. You can try out crazy things like chess or thing, or you go cycling group, or there are always people who like something. They always come into groups. So obviously, if you're a runner, you can, even if running is a lonely thing, but you can even run in a group as well. So I know it's virus and COVID time, but still, for example, running is or hiking is outside, so it's outdoors. You can do things outdoors in a group. So it's the best thing is not fabricate things, but actually do them. Actually pay attention to other people, not just your boyfriend, because he's not the only one. He's not the only person who makes your life happy. Even if your partner is secure, you still need friends, because one person cannot satisfy all your needs. And it's nice to have friends. It's very nice, and it's very nice to do things. So I remember I went to a drum circle for a year and a half until it's finished, and it was the best thing, you know, I did, for at that time in my life, especially after a breakup, because it was like a community. It was like nearly like a family. You're sharing experiences, and it takes your attention away of your preoccupied brain into what you're doing, and then you are enjoying yourself. You become more attracted to anyone else, like, than if you just sit in your room and cry that no one really likes you. Okay, so I'm moving on towards the one before last. And this is also a very common thing we do. We hide away. Um, we go and suddenly have to travel and see our mother, or visit a relative, or just lock ourselves in our home, and we block them, definitely block them out. And we think all those things I I wrote there. So this this craziness going on in the head, and we feel really, really sorry for ourselves, like, oh my god, he doesn't love me, he hates me. And this is real. I'm not saying, I'm not mocking you. This is absolutely real. He doesn't love you that much. That's real. That's why you feel this way, because that's reality. Even if he or she loves you, he doesn't love you the way you want to be loved. So either way, you hurt. So this is absolutely real. I did it 100 times. And you block her and you don't answer, you distance. So you actually behave like them. You distance yourself, but not because they are too much, because they are too little. They don't give you constantly, don't give you what you need. And then after a long period of time, after you already had the anger and the hostility, then this is one of your last resorts. The one before last is to hide away and go away and not ignore them. So that's what you, why you do it, why we do it. This this we really think, and it works many times. This we really think, if we hide away, then they will, because they're gonna miss us, they will want to come back to us. And this actually can work, because after a while, yes, the partner will miss you, most of the time, and they will contact you. So it can work. That's why we do this one actually can work. But it's still an acting out. It's still a temper tantrum in a way, because you're not doing from love, you're doing from hurt, you're doing from some suffering, from being afraid that he's gonna leave you, he doesn't love you, he's not getting what you need, you don't feel comfortable. Yeah, all these horrible, painful things. I understand. That's why we do this. And as because it works, we do it a lot. But it's not, you can feel in your heart that it's not nice. You just, yeah, you still have the anxiety. You are not calm, you're not relaxed. And real love is relaxed, is soothing, is like the warm bath. That's how a real love is. Like, you really feel embraced. The long hugs, and not just occasionally. That's how you are constantly. And that's what we need to aim towards. So, how to deal with this? Yeah, this is a tactic that can work, but you can say it's still childish. Like, we are adult people, and we block them. We block each other. Yes, we are trying to basically prevent us to get hurt even more. But because we distance ourselves, we have another layer on top of being hurt, that we are even further away. We are even more lonely. So it never works out perfectly. Whatever we do, it just it's just kind of, you can see, if you see it from outside, that this is a desperate survival behavior. You just want to stay alive, that's all. You just want to stay alive, you want to breathe, and that's why you do this. So if communication doesn't work with your partner, and because sometimes with avoidant people it's very hard to communicate, and the the crux of the thing is that they don't really care about your well-being. They want it to be your business. You take care about yourself, or your emotional life is your thing. They don't want to get involved, and this is an issue, is never going to go away. So yeah, the best way to deal with this is yeah, sometimes you're so tired of not being unhappy and just lonely and feeling unloved by your partner, is if what I suggest, if you hide away, if you block them, if you go away, then do something self-loving to yourself. Like if you need this time and you still want to stay with your avoidant partner, or you are single and you dating and you don't, you have issues with your date, then do something loving, something kind, like cook some nice a cake or a nice dinner, have a nice bath, just do some creative work. Creativity is one of the best things you can do for yourself when you hide away, because you are going to fill up yourself. You will feel more joyous inside, because all these endorphins are going to flood your brain, and it's nice to create something. It's very fulfilling, it's very rewarding. Some people don't even, they think they are not creative. Everyone has something they can create. And even if you just try something, that's already a big thing. You can try drawing or painting or anything. You can just try and see. You can, even if you make a small step, that's already very rewarding. Just obviously don't criticize yourself. Just accept what you did, and the other thing is do some exercise. That's exercise, yoga, a nice yoga, being with a group. It's really fulfilling. So be in nature. Yeah, you can do nice things, but don't hide away and eat chocolates and cry and smoke and drink. So that's the worst thing you can do. In this time when you're really fed up, you do fulfilling things. You meditate, you dancing, one of the nicest thing you can do. You can dance on your own, but exercise, that is very soon. It's a fast acting, way to get yourself a bit, into a better shape. Just if you do half an hour exercise, and straight away you feel more energized and happier. Okay, and the biggest weapon towards our enemy is the threatening them with the breakup. And that's our last resort normally. And I did it 100 times. I remember, like a hundred times with one of my boyfriends. Actually, I did with all of them, but there was one guy who was like, I loved him very, very much, and we nearly broke up every weekend. Like during the week, he did so many things. He was so distant. He was so distant. He was like just always wanted to be with his friends, and I always felt neglected and ignored and unimportant, always felt unimportant, that I basically threatened him many, many times. And Yes, this is another weapon that actually this tactic can work as well. But what is on the other side? So why we do it? We do it because we completely had enough. So we really actually want to leave, and we should. From me, from my view, you should. That's why you feel this way, because you had enough and it's not working. But obviously you in love, and you love this person, you invested a lot of your energy, and you're really attached, so your attachment system is activated. You're very uh, in love in this person. You don't want to break up, but this is, you say it because then you think that they got scared that they will lose you and they will come back, and it's actually, it happens. Yes, my ex-boyfriend always called me and wanted to come back, and then we started again. But if you think about it, you do the same behavior and expect a different result. I don't even want to say anything. There's not going to be a different result. And I did it, so I'm just the same like everyone else. I did it 100 times. But actually, in the last time when it happened, I walked. I really when I walked away, it still took me a while to recover. But I could actually see that it's how damaging, how unhappy I am, and love shouldn't be this painful. It shouldn't cause you huge amount of anxiety. It shouldn't cause you to behave like a child and threaten to break up. If you don't do this what I want, then I leave you. You can see it's really like a childish, but it's your last thing you can do before you don't want to go, but you know in your heart that it's not working and you are in huge pain. That's when you do this. That, yes, you threaten to leave because you came to the end point. But if you see this from a secure point of view, with a secure partner, I would suggest never, ever, ever threaten someone to that you will break up unless you really mean it. And the reason is, if you say this, their trust in you start to diminish. Like the way when an avoidant secretive and mysterious and lies to you is the same thing for others. This behavior, what we do, because it's mostly an anxious behavior, to threaten with breaking up and leaving, it's, yeah, it's breaking up the thread between you. So it's you're gonna lose that person if you do this very often, especially with a secure person. Because with an avoidant, you're eventually gonna break up. I see people who stay together, but I think that their relationships are living hell. So I don't suggest staying in, because there are better options. But, and in my opinion, it's better to be single than with an avoidant. But anyway, um, yeah, what you can do is just really be honest with yourself, and see what you can take. If you feel like you cannot be on your own, then it's still not worth threatening to leave, because you only threaten to break up because you want them to come back and want you again. So just don't, just, you either ask for a break and then during the break start dating and find someone else, or just don't threaten. You just say, I actually, I think I'm not happy, and I want to finish this relationship. So this threatening, threatening with breaking up, is really, is only works a few times, and then there's no point because you're hurting yourself. You keep believing a lie that they are going to change. They're not going to change. And if you think you can change, yeah, you can change to a degree, but in my opinion, you're constantly going to be missing the you don't get enough attention. But if you are in that conscious and you are that lucky, then it's fine. You can change and you can accept their avoidant behavior is fine. Then you have to threaten, but there is no other way. You cannot. There's no point to threaten with the breakup if everything is going to be the same. And avoidance, unfortunately, they're not really interested in changing. They are not. They're just not. It's not their thing really, because they think there's nothing. Is the problem with them is always the problem with you. So um, I think I'm going to wrap up this is a long session, but I think it's a very important session, and I'm really hoping that many people will listen and learn from this. And I thank you for being the part of today's talk. And if you feel like, you can join my private Facebook group, the missing link. And as always, have a wonderful day.